a Milwaukee Fast Charger. So I've got a few Milwaukee tools, so I thought I could probably do with another charger. So I saw this one on eBay for spares or repair. Let's get the box out of the way. And it looks pretty much in new condition. There's not really a scratch or anything on it. So it was advertised as spares or repair, and the fault was it just doesn't power up. I think I paid £10 for this, and I think it was about £2.80 postage. I'll just pull the listing up so you can have a quick look there. Right, so I've got a power lead here and a battery, so we'll plug it in and see what it does. And absolutely nothing. Okay. So first things first, let's check the fuse. I'll just grab a screwdriver. Right, got a screwdriver here. And we've got a 3 amp fuse. Right, let's get the meter and check that fuse first. And hopefully it's not just the fuse, because otherwise it's going to be a very short video. Right, so fuse is intact. Right, I guess we've got to get into it now then. So how does this come apart? It looks like there's 5 screws on the back. So I think we'll start by removing those. These are in quite tight. I think they're a T15 Torx, I think. Security Torx is the one I'm using. No, these haven't got the little dot in the middle, so you could probably just get away with the normal Torx. Right. Right, so that's the indication LEDs on a little subboard there with a connector. Now I have done a little bit of work on these chargers a good few months back, because I was interested in how they communicate with the battery. So I did a bit work on this maybe, I say about 8 months ago now, where I tapped into the microcontroller that's underneath one of these boards and reverse engineered the protocol. So let's get this board out and we'll have a look at that. Let's try and get this strain relief out. There we go. I don't know what that is. A little bit of an afterthought there. I guess it's to stop the screw from possibly, when you mount it, whether it's to stop it from shorting out against something possibly, in case it goes through the plastic somehow. I don't know. It's a bit strange. Right, let's have a look over this board, see if we can see anything. I'll zoom down a bit. And this is the part for charging the 12 volt batteries. The 12 volt batteries are fairly dumb. There's nothing in them apart from 3 cells, a thermistor, and that's about it. The M18 batteries are a little bit more complicated. The battery management for the low voltage side is all done in the tool, and there's no communications that are found between the battery and the tool itself. It just measures the thermistor and the battery voltage analog by the look of things, and the only digital communication I've found was between the batteries and the charger. Right, let's have a look on the back of it, see if I can see anything. There's the microcontroller. So it looks like we've got 4 transistors or something here. There's a couple of resistors. There's 2 opto isolators. And from when I looked at one of these a while back, I think one's for the current and one's for the voltage. I think that was either a comparator or an operational amplifier, I think that was. Let's see if we zoom down, see if we can see the numbers on them. So this is all the high voltage side of it, and it's pretty much run by this IC here, which is, if you can just see it there, this device here. So what happens is we've got the power comes in here, it goes through a inductor here, I think it's just for noise suppression. It then goes through this bridge rectifier and into these 2 capacitors, and then into the main IC here, which does the switching for the transformer, and it's regulated by the 2 opto isolators here. So I think one's for voltage and one's for current. And this position here, if you install a link between there and there, you could actually convert this to 110 volts. And if you remove the link, if you've got a 110 volt one of these and you want to convert it to 240, if you just remove the link, that should convert it to 240. It was very similar on the 6-way chargers that I looked at a while back as well. They had a similar link. Right, let's see if there's anything else we can see on this. I mean, I can't see any signs of any burnt components or anything, or bulged capacitors or anything like that. Everything all looks good on this. Right, I think the next thing is to apply some voltages. Actually, I've just noticed there's a small fuse just there. Let's just measure that and we'll see if that's intact. Zoom out refraction. And we're unplugged at the moment, so yeah, so the fuse is alright. Right, so I'm going to plug this in, but I'm going to be very careful because this will be live. So if you are working on anything like this, please be very careful, because high voltages and skin don't make a good mix usually. Right, so I'm just going to power this up now. So this is now live. So let's just see if we get any incoming supply on this. So I'm just going to very carefully. Right, so we've got 248 volts there. Let's try and get the meter in shot a little bit more. Have we got it on the bridge rectifier? Yes. Right, I'm going to volts DC now, and we'll check the output of the bridge rectifier. This will go quite spectacularly if I short it out. Right, so we've got 345 volts across those capacitors there. This is why you've got to be very careful. Like I say, I've mucked around with stuff like this for a number of years, so I pretty much well know the score, although that's not to say mistakes can be made. Right, so there should be some capacitors on the output side of this. So where would those be? It looks like across here looks a good candidate, so let's see what we get across here. be the other way around. So we've got 3.1 volts on there. So I don't think that seems quite right. Actually looks like there's been a bit of soldering done there possibly as well. I think we should have more than 3.1 volts on there. Tell you what, I'm just going to switch this off. I'm just going to let these capacitors discharge a moment, and then we'll just have a look at what rating those capacitors are.
A few moments later.
Right, so it's been a couple of minutes now, and we'll just double check what's in these capacitors. Yeah, that should be fine now. Right, so we've got two fairly largish capacitors here. I'm just trying to see what voltage they are. I can't actually see for the goo that's on them, because I think that's where the voltage is. Now we'll zoom down a bit, we'll see if we can see. I can see a 4. And that was those capacitors, yeah. So those look a bit bigger than I would say what would be expected for 3 volts. So there's another capacitor here, and that says 50 volts to 20 microfarads. I mean, I know the 50 volt is the maximum rating, but I would have expected more than 3 volts on here. I wonder why this part's been resoldered. That looks like a diode. Right, okay, yeah, I see now. So it looks like, obviously this is the primary side of the transformer, and this is the secondary side. So it looks like this pin comes out and goes across here, and this pin, that's probably the ground. We've already got a voltage there, goes across. Right, so it looks like there's 3 voltages possibly on this. I'd say that's probably the ground. Let's double check, because we should be able to find out of these capacitors. Yeah, so this is the ground. The voltage that goes to these capacitors here comes through here, jumps across the top of the board into this diode, and then into those capacitors. And it looks like we've got another voltage comes out of here, jumps across, and then heads up this way somewhere, and another one that's, alright, that's just another ground. So unless that's for some kind of current sensing perhaps. So if that's ground, that's ground. Looks like there's 2 voltages come out of this transformer then. And I would have thought we should be getting more than 3 volts. So either there's a short further on, or there's something on the primary side. Let's check this diode here. That's just building up in the capacitor. I'll try it the other way. That's just the capacitor's discharging. Might have to take that out to check it properly. But I'm just curious why it's got solder on it. I wonder if somebody's had a look at this before, possibly. Right, I'm going to take that out and we'll test it out of circuit. I'll just grab a screwdriver. I'll just put a bit of flux on and get some solder wick. Better switch the iron on as well. So I'm just going to put a bit of flux on here first. Make it better with the solder, sorry. And this is probably 2 diodes in one package. I'll just zoom out a touch. So the centre pin's probably connected to there. Or maybe it's isolated. Right, so we've got 2 diodes. One there. And one there. And if we measure the other way around, so it actually measures okay. So it's not that. Let's see if we've got any. Let's see if there's any shorts across these capacitors. I don't know how well that will measure with the meter, but we'll try. Just in case there's a dead short or something and that's pulling the power supply down. Well, there's no shorts there. Let's check this other winding, because that probably goes through a diode as well. That goes across to here. Yeah, there's a diode just there. So what happens is it comes up here across, and then that's that diode that I just pointed out on the other side. We're just there. So that's the other rectifier diode there. So let's check if that's shorted, because that could be pulling the voltage down as well. Let's just go back on the diode check. And that's okay. Let's try the other way. Right. So let's check between ground and the output of the diode in case there's any shorts further on. I'm not getting any reading there either. So I'm kind of leaning towards the primary side of things now. Unless one of these opto-isolators has gone and it's telling it to throttle. That's the only other thing. It just seems a bit unusual, this. Right, I'll pop this diode back in before we go any further. I'll just give it a clean up. I need a little bit more solder on that one. That's better. Right, let's have a look at the primary side and see if we can see anything that's going on there. So these are just bleeder resistors because they're across the capacitors. So that's what discharges the capacitors when you switch it off. So we're not left with any nasty voltages in them. So I guess this is the negative, which goes to the switching IC here. And then the positive goes to the transformer. We've got a couple of small components. They just look like links going across the top that go to this IC. Let's just double check that they are just in fact links, if we can see. There's a diode there and a link. So I guess this one's the diode and that one's the link. Let's see what we get on that diode. Just double checking my meter probes. Yep, so that's okay. So that diode's alright. We've got a couple of resistors there. Let's try and zoom in. So 5 1 and 5 zeros and 4 3 and 5 zeros. Let's just see what those measure then. I think there's a bit of a coating on this board there. But we might get proper readings on these with them being other things in circuit. Well, they have got some resistance. There's a little tiny resistor there. What's that one? Looks like 05C possibly. It measures 10K, so we'll assume that one's alright. I've got a 0 ohm resistor here. That measures okay. Let's just see what's the resistance on these are. And they should be photodiodes, I think. These are optocouplers. I'm not getting any readings on those. Well, I think the way those working anyway is when the power supply gets up to a certain level, it shines an LED at this side of the optocoupler, which then sort of shorts out this diode across here. So I think they're open circuit until it actually gets a signal. So if those aren't shorted, I mean the only thing really in this is this IC here, so I wonder if there's a problem with that. I mean normally when they go, they fail quite spectacularly. They don't just stop working. I think I might take this out and we'll have a look. We'll see where it is. Right, I'm just going to put some solder on first, just to make it easier to desolder. I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but I'll use the old solder sucker again. Right, what's holding this in? Well, that looks a bit of a pain because I can't see us getting a screwdriver in there to remove that, so I'm going to have to remove the heatsink, which is held on by those two screws there. Yeah, I think there's some kind of coating on this board as well. You can see some of it on the, it's like a silicone Probably gonna have to scrape some of this goo off. Right, I think I'm going to try and clean these up, so I'll just pause and then we'll continue once I get the heatsink off. Right, got the screws out. Oh, it's quite stuck on there. That doesn't really help, does it? I'll say it's glued on. There we go. Right, can we see any numbers on it though for this stuff? Let's try zooming down a bit. Right, so it is a top 261 EN. Right, I'll look that up and see if we can find out any specs on it. I've just noticed there's two diodes here, one marked ZD3, so Zener diode 3, and there's another diode here marked D7. Now when I measure those, let's say one of them's just across here, it measures short circuit, and the other one measures short circuit too. Now it could be that we're measuring through the coil here because the diode goes through the coil, but I'm not 100%, so I think I'll just remove those and I'll just double check those out of circuit just in case they have blown. Yeah, this coating's a bit of a pain on these. Let's try and burn through it. Let's see if that'll come out. Yeah, so that's okay. It's measuring alright there when I try it. It's a bit off the screen there. That's a bit hard to do. Let's try it the other way. So there's one diode here. We'll just lift a leg on that one and we'll just double check that one as well. I'll just see if I can lift that up a sec. It says we're having to take it out. There we go. Ah. Ah, hold on then. Right, I think we need to take this out completely because that doesn't look right. I shouldn't be getting a short across that. Let's try and get that out. There we go. Right, that's short circuit. Can we make out a number on it? It looks like UF 308. So that might actually be faulty. There might actually be the diode here. Well, the diode is actually faulty, so there's no getting away from that. UF308. Right, I shall go look that part up and see if I can find one. So it's been a couple of days and the new diode that I've ordered has arrived. Now the original was a UF308 and this one that I managed to get a hold of is a UF5408. Well, they're both pretty much the same spec, so let's test this one and compare it to the old one. So if I go on these two pins here, you can see we've got a reading of about 0.44. If I do the same on this one, you can see it's short. We'll just swap the leads round and we shouldn't get any reading on the diode this way, and we don't. And on this one we've got a short. So we'll pop the diodes back in, the new one and the one that I removed that measures okay. We'll pop this back in and then we'll give it a test. So let's switch the iron on. I'll just zoom down a little bit. And the white stripe goes to where the black stripe goes on the diode, in case you didn't know. And also it's the same as the line on that symbol. So that means the white stripes at the top. So it needs to go in like that. Right, I'll get those soldered in. Hopefully without it dropping out. Right, we'll just remove those excess legs. Right, I'm going to screw the chip back in first. Let's get that lined up. So hopefully this IC hasn't been damaged. Well, we shall soon find out. Right, we'll solder those back up. Right. Right, tell you what, I'm just going to get this this bit out of the way for now. Let's turn it that way a bit. Right, so at this point it's either going to fail quite spectacularly, either that or I think it's going to work. So we shall give it a go and see what happens. Right, so power socket. Let's see what it does. Well, it hasn't gone bang, so that's good. Let's see what voltage we've got on those capacitors now. $10.49, that looks more like it. Right. I'll switch it off. We'll half assemble it or reassemble it and then we'll give it a proper test. just going to see what voltage is in those capacitors first. Yeah, it looks like it discharges, no? See, it looks like it discharges fairly quickly, so... Right. I just might change this screw on this one because I think the threads have stripped in the aluminium. The other one tightened up okay, but this one isn't, so I'm going to see if I can find a self-tapper just to go in here. It's only to support the heatsink, so not the end of the world. Right, be back in a moment. Alright, that's a bit better. It's not going anywhere now. Right, let's find my glass screwdriver here. I'll plug the little cable in for the lights. Right, that took a bit to get the lining up as well, that little connector there. Right, I'm going to put some screws in this one out. Right, so I've got a battery there. Let's see if it works. Yes. Right, we'll leave that to charge away for a bit, and then we'll come back, see if it fully charges the battery. So it's been a little while and the M18 battery seems to be fully charged. Right, I do have an M12 battery. This is a spotlight that I repaired in a previous video, and I highly recommend this spotlight. It's brilliant. It's one of the best lights I've got. It's really good. Let's try the M12 battery then. And this one's busy charging, so we'll see if that one completes its charge as well. And that's the M12 battery fully charged as well. Excellent. Right, we'll just put that in here. And there we go, fully charged. Right, nice little fix on that one then. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.